Hey Lightweights, 2K recently invited me out to their offices in California so that I could play Borderlands 4 before anybody else. I cannot believe those words just came out of my mouth. But thank you so much to 2K for sponsoring today's video and also for inviting me out to your offices in California. It literally, I cannot believe that this is real life. I can't believe it. So thank you so much for this opportunity. In this video today, you are going to see my footage of my gameplay from Borderlands 4. Let's just say I live up to the LiteWeight Gaming name. Please don't expect me to be a professional Borderlands player because that is not what you are going to see in this footage. But this video will also include my very first developer interview ever, which was really exciting, and I'll also give my first impressions and thoughts about what I played. So if that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you stick around. If you're new to the channel, definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any content, and here we go. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. Would you mind sharing with us your name and a little bit about your role in the studio just to start?
Sure. I'm Anthony Nicholson. I'm the senior project producer of Borderlands 4.
So the first one, I personally am new to the franchise, but thank you. My co-hosts are die-hard fans. So how do you balance making a game that's accessible and interesting to new players, but also is going to be something that players who are fans of the franchise want to come back to?
That's a really good question. I think one of the things that we want to make sure that we concentrate on is the shooting and the looting. What makes it fun? What makes it amazing? What makes it balanced? So for longtime fans of the franchise, they know about the lore and the grinding and going through the different backgrounds, the characters, action skills, and all that stuff. And we know that players outside of that who haven't got to experience it yet, they're going to be onboarded. So how do we set them up? How do we make it understandable and kind of ease them in? There's a lot of different ways that we do that. We of course do the traditional thing where you start at the beginning of the game, kind of onboard you with what we call a rock and roll intro. It's where we kind of set the stage for what's going on in the world. And then we'll tutorialize, of course, show you any of the new mechanics and things like that. But outside of that, there's things in the game where we kind of set up what we call a schedule, so that you're not inundated with all of the things that you see. You know, you guys hear us talk about billions and billions of guns and all these different dynamic things that can happen. But inside the game itself, we want to make sure that we're kind of getting people what they need when they need it without being inundated. So you'll see like weapon slots. You know, they open up slowly. You know, you start with 2 weapon slots, and then you'll unlock another one. Then you'll unlock the last one. Types of weapons that roll. So like in the build right now, heavy weapons, they won't start showing up in drops until like I think level 8. And then licensed parts beyond that, and then firmware and enhancements beyond that. So like there's so many different ways for us to make sure that people who are core to the franchise, who have been longtime fans, understand we can double down on all the things that we're doing and making it more exciting and more dynamic. But then for the people who haven't really played a lot, we can still ease them in and make sure that they're not completely inundated with all of the new shiny, and that they can have a really good chance and feel that power fantasy. Borderlands is about power and fulfilling that. Looting, shooting, and feeling like a total badass as you go across and do it.
Yeah, and as a new player, I was definitely already feeling that. So you're definitely nailing that so far. So a lot of people I've been hearing talking about the minimap. Obviously, I haven't played previous games, so I don't really know. But what made you guys decide from the previous gameplay loops that you wanted to change up the minimap to having the action bar instead? Was there a certain gameplay loop that you were noticing in the previous games that you guys decided, okay, we don't want it to feel that way anymore? Or was there a decision that kind of went into the changing of the minimap structure?
Well, yeah. For this one, it was really straightforward. It wasn't nothing against the minimap. Obviously, we like it, and we've had it in the games before. But with this game, once we started developing and really getting into it and understanding how information was being given to you, the verticality that we have now with the ability to grapple up or climb things and set different areas throughout exploring Kairos, it became really evident really quickly that keeping that on a circle with the vast size of a lot of the areas in the game and in the map itself would kind of keep things pinned to the outside of the minimap. Because if I'm in the middle of combat, things are so vast and so big, it's really hard. But also, like I was talking about verticality, you can't really tell where something is high or low. I mean, there's ways to do it, but whenever we really looked at the focus and looked at other games and looked at how, because we're obviously a genre blended game. We're a first-person RPG, so we already look and we want to continue to push the industry forward and think about how we can really make those types of decisions and pull in really cool stuff that people love. We really looked at the compass and said, hey, this gives us what we need. We can actually make it to where we have enemies here. We can tell the depth, so the dots will be different if they're closer or further away. Or they'll show up in a certain distance. And then just the icons that are around the map. If there's a safe house or a vending machine or something like that above me, there's a little chevron that tells me that it's up there. And so we just felt like because of the exploration focus, because of the size, and because of the ability to kind of go in and out and move within the world and its verticality, that the compass was the right decision.
Yeah, and just from the little bit I've played so far, I've definitely noticed that, especially with, like you said, the verticality. I'm constantly like grappling up and going down and searching all around. And I can imagine if you just had the tiny little mini map, that would be not very helpful when you're actually in those moments and knowing where those enemies are.
Yeah, just kind of looking around. You want to be able to get to somewhere and understand it. And we'll continue to make sure that we're taking the feedback and listening to those things. But with where we are with the company, so we're really confident in it. And like yourself, once you get in there and you actually start playing it, along with we've added a new feature called Echo 4. Echo has always been a thing that kind of gives your HUD and your skills and stuff like that. But now it's an actual character that does a lot of things, like highlights where you need to go, showing you a path, highlights traversal mechanics like walls or grapples. If you're in a mission area and you use echolocation, pop up where your waypoint is or what these different interactables are that you need to do. And so the compass with echolocation kind of makes it to where we feel really confident in what that is without the mini-map.
I can already tell Aqua 4 is going to be my favorite. So I was able to play with the skill tree a little bit for just my one character. What goes into the design process of creating that varied and deep skill tree and multiple skill trees for all of those characters? How do you make it so that it's varied and enticing but not overwhelming?
What makes you feel like a total badass is kind of the starting question.
Okay.
What makes you feel really, really cool? What makes it feel awesome to do? You said you're playing Vex right now?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to send your cat after somebody and have them maul them, or maybe make them explode. It's pretty awesome to pop some wings and shoot orbs and change the elemental to change whatever situation that you're approaching. And so for us, it's really like what gives you, like I said, that power fantasy. What allows you to become a hero of your own story? That's how we look at Vault Hunters. We feel like Vault Hunters in Borderlands games could be the star of other games. We pull them all together because they kind of stand on their own. But what makes you feel like a badass? Now, more technically and on the back end inside the studio, we just have different conversations about the type of things that we want. Our character design team is amazing. They work really closely with the other departments to kind of pull things off, but it doesn't just come from them. Animation may be like, oh man, it would be really cool if, or effects could be like, oh man, it'd be badass if we had. And so it's really a full collaboration with the team, trying to come up with things that give variety, that don't stamp on each other, because you don't want to have this skill be pretty much the same exact thing on that other character's skill. Right. But then we want to make sure that there's a lot of synergy between those two. But ultimately, the variety and the deepest skill trees that we have make it to where all four of us could play Vex and have completely different builds, and that's what we want. We want you to be able to make your own character the way that you want, because of the way you play, whether you're melee or sniper, elemental or non-elemental, or moving around and doing duck and cover and doing cover combat, or just running and gunning and blasting stuff as you go. So that's kind of what it looks like, and we just want to make sure that we start with what makes you feel like a total badass.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time and inviting me here, and that's been wonderful. Thank you. Borderlands 4 is scheduled to release on both PC and console on September 12th. The rating is not decided yet, so stay tuned for that. But good news, if you are a co-op player, there is full cross-platform support. So it doesn't matter where you play or where your friends play, you will be able to play together. So just like the previous games, you have co-op for this, or you have single player. Now, you did hear in the interview that there are billions of different weapon types. You can modify them with different add-ons from different manufacturers. Each add-on from each manufacturer has a different perk to it. So you really can make a gun, a weapon that is purely yours, unique to you, that fits the gameplay you like to play. I didn't mess with that all that much because I was still just trying to get used to everything. But I could tell, even from the little bit that I did, that there is a lot of variety and a lot of fun to be had here. I can't show it yet, but there will be footage in a later video that I'm really excited to show you about some of the really, really cool perks from some of my weapons. So please stay tuned for that, because there's one that I just... chef's kiss. I just can't show it to you yet. So in the next video I release, it will be in there. So please stay tuned for that. But most importantly, I just want to say how fun this game is. Obviously, Borderlands is known for their wacky comedy and unique enemy types. That is still present here. But I think it was a little bit more grounded. The humor was a little bit more grounded in this than in some of the previous games, but no less funny. You also have 4 new Vault Hunters. I mostly played with Vex for this one. I thought she was really cool. I liked how she had a little bit of magic power with her summon, with her cat, Trouble, which I know you're all wondering. Yes, you can pet the cat. You can pet the cat. But Trouble was so much fun to use. I found myself mostly utilizing my summon for that, and it's a great time. The other thing that we heard in the interview that I also really loved was the new traversal. So in this game, they did add a grapple point. I always have a brain fart when I'm trying to think of the word grapple point. You have a new grapple system. So you can zip up, you can zip down, which is really fun. I also use my grapple a lot in combat. So if there was an explodey barrel, I could use my grapple and pull that barrel in and throw it to help me. I utilize that a ton. You also have double jump now, and I didn't do this in my game, but they did mention it, so I want to say it for you all as well. There is swimming. So in the interview, they talked a lot about verticality, and you really do get that in this game. And I think that that makes the combat a lot more fun because it makes it feel much more fast-paced. Again, makes you think outside the box in terms of how you want to fight, and everybody can approach combat in a different way. So with Vex, I was more bebopping around, using my grapple point to get up high and then jumping down, using my grapple point to pull in explosive barrels that I could use. Different barrels have different abilities, which are going to be better or worse for different enemy types. So all of that was really cool. But if you are a character who is more tanky, you might not do that. So I just think it's really cool how there's so much variety and how everyone really can tailor the gameplay to what works best for them. Pre-order Borderlands 4 today using the link in the video description below. I would just like to give one more huge thank you to 2K for inviting me out to their studios so that I could play Borderlands 4 early and bring this exclusive footage to you guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are you most excited about? If you have any questions you'd like me to clarify something, please feel free to leave those in the comments as well. Just know that I am still under NDA, so there are certain things that I can't talk about yet. But if I talked about it in the video and you have some more questions based off of things I talked about in the video, I'd be happy to answer those for you. I'm really excited. I do have one more video that will be coming out in a little bit, a couple days time, about a different aspect of the game, but I can't talk about that yet. So if you haven't, definitely make sure you subscribe. That way you get notified when I post the next video about a different aspect of Borderlands 4. And I think that's everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. 2K, thank you for inviting me. And as always, leave your thoughts and questions in the comments below. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a great day.